I manage a family-owned fruit stall in Bangkok's Chatuchak weekend market. We've been here for 30 years, selling mangoes, rambutans, and durian to whoever walks up. Last month, an American woman approached our open-air stand, surveyed the fruit arranged on wooden crates, and asked where the hostess was. I pointed to myself. She clarified that she needed the person who seats people. I explained we don't have seats, just fruit you buy and walk away with. She pulled out her phone, scrolled through her emails, and informed me she'd made a reservation through our website for 2 p.m. We don't have a website. She showed me a screenshot of some restaurant in Phuket, completely different business, different city, 400 kilometers south. I told her this was a fruit market. She insisted her confirmation email said, Bangkok food experience, and demanded we honor it. She stood there for 20 minutes, blocking customers, insisting I was violating her reservation rights under international commerce law, something she claimed existed. Eventually she bought a mango for 3 times the normal price, convinced she'd negotiated her way into our non-existent reservation system. My cousin works the reception desk at a public hammam in Marrakesh. The facility has operated the same way for 2 centuries. You pay at the door, grab your bucket, and find an empty corner. An American couple arrived last Tuesday demanding to know which marble slab they'd been assigned. He explained that we don't assign spaces, people just spread out wherever. The husband protested that he'd reserved the premium experience through email. They'd sent a message to the tourism office, received an auto-reply with general hammam information, and interpreted that as a binding reservation contract. The wife asked about their private room. We don't have private rooms. That's a different type of establishment entirely, costs 5 times as much, requires actual booking. They refused to believe this was how public baths worked. She kept saying that, in Austin, we always reserve our spa time, as if Austin municipal codes applied to Moroccan bathing culture. I'm a park ranger at Torres del Paine in Chile. Last week, an American hiker approached me on the trail demanding to see the reservation desk. I explained we don't have a desk, you're already in the park, you paid at the entrance. She said no, she needed to reserve her summit time for tomorrow. I told her mountains don't have summit reservations, you just hike when you're ready, weather permitting. She pulled out a printed itinerary from some tour company that mentioned guided summit attempts for a completely different peak in Peru. She'd somehow conflated 2 separate mountains, 2 separate countries, and decided that meant she could reserve a time slot to stand on top of a mountain alone. She demanded I radio the peak coordinator to confirm her 9 a.m. slot. I explained there's no such position. She accused me of being deliberately unhelpful and filed a complaint with park headquarters about inadequate reservation infrastructure. I drive a Jeepney in Manila, the kind with the long bench seats and bright paintings on the side. We run fixed routes, stopping whenever someone waves or taps the ceiling. It's been this way for 70 years. Last month, an American man stood at our regular corner stop, checked his watch repeatedly, and flagged me down with intense urgency. He climbed aboard, confirmed this was Route 7 to Quezon City, then asked where his assigned seat was. I told him to sit anywhere open. He insisted he'd reserved seat 4B online. I operate a Jeepney, not an airplane. There are no seat numbers, no reservations, no online system. He showed me a screenshot from a completely different bus company, long-distance routes, nothing to do with jeepneys. I explained the confusion. He demanded I pull up his account to verify his booking. I told him I don't have accounts, I have a vehicle and a route. Pay your fare, find a seat. He sat down muttering about third world transportation chaos, paid his 13 pesos, and spent the entire ride photographing the absence of seat numbers as evidence for what he called his inevitable refund claim. My aunt runs a wet market in Penang, selling fresh fish on ice-covered tables. Customers browse, point at what they want, we weigh it and wrap it in newspaper. Simple system, been working since 1960. An American couple wandered in last Saturday, looked around confused, and asked my aunt for their reservation pickup. She asked what they meant. They explained they'd booked 2 kilograms of prawns for 3 p.m. collection. My aunt asked when they called. They never called. They'd simply decided last night, while having dinner, that they'd come get prawns today at 3, and believed that decision constituted a reservation. The wife explained that, back in Portland, our fishmonger always holds our order, apparently unaware that a personal arrangement with a specific vendor differs from arriving at a random market stall expecting psychic service. My aunt told them she had prawns available now if they wanted to buy some. The husband asked about cancellation fees for their non-existent booking. My aunt wrapped their prawns and charged them normal price, while the wife left a poor review online about the market's disorganized reservation system. I operate a motorcycle taxi in Hanoi's Old Quarter. I sit on my bike at busy intersections, people wave me down, negotiate a price, hop on the back, and I weave through traffic to wherever they're going. No appointments, no scheduled pickups, no advance bookings. Last Thursday, an American woman approached me, verified I was a XCOM driver, then asked if I was the 215. I told her I don't run on a schedule, I just take whoever needs a ride. She insisted she'd booked me specifically through her hotel's travel desk for a 2:15 p.m. departure to the Temple of Literature. The travel desk doesn't book XCOM rides, that's not how any of this works. She showed me a receipt for a guided tour company, completely different service, tomorrow's date, wrong temple. I explained the mix-up. She said her confirmation email clearly stated motorcycle transportation and accused me of trying to scam her by pretending she hadn't reserved. She demanded I call my supervisor. I'm self-employed, I am the supervisor. She eventually got on the bike, paid the standard rate, then spent the entire 5-kilometer ride asking why I didn't have her name on a clipboard. I work the ticket counter at a public thermal bath in Budapest, one of the historic ones with the Ottoman-era pools. We sell day passes, you pay at the window, go inside, find a locker, enjoy the bath. No booking system, never has been. An American man arrived yesterday morning, walked past the queue, approached my window, and provided his last name for check-in. I asked if he meant checking in to buy a ticket. He clarified that he'd reserved the entire main pool for his family from 10 a.m. to noon. I explained the main pool is public, shared by everyone, cannot be reserved. He produced a printed email from a luxury hotel spa in District V, a completely separate establishment, which offered private thermal experiences at premium prices. He'd somehow found our public baths address, shown up here, and expected us to honor another business's services. He demanded to speak with the aquatics director. We don't have an aquatics director, we have a maintenance guy who fixes the pipes. I sold him a regular day pass. He accepted it while insisting he'd be contacting Hungarian tourism authorities about false advertising. My family owns a small tapas bar in Granada, the kind where people stand at the counter, order drinks, and get free tapas with each round. No tables, no reservations, just come in whenever. An American couple entered last Tuesday evening, looked around confused at everyone standing, and asked where the host stand was. I explained we don't seat people, everyone stands and orders at the bar. The wife said that couldn't be right because she'd made a reservation 3 weeks ago through email. I checked our email, found nothing. She showed me a message she'd sent to Granada's General Tourism Office, which had auto-replied with a list of recommended bars, including ours. She interpreted that as a confirmed booking. The husband asked about their private booth. We don't have booths, we have a bar and some high tables, all first come first serve. He explained that, in Charleston, you always reserve tapas tasting menus, apparently expecting Spanish eating culture to mirror South Carolina's fine dining scene. They eventually stood at the bar, ordered wine, got their complimentary tapas, and spent 30 minutes taking photos while complaining loudly about European restaurants not respecting American booking confirmations. I served behind the counter at a Kopitiam in Kuala Lumpur, a traditional coffee shop where uncles gather to drink kopi and eat kaya toast. We've never taken reservations in 40 years of operation. Walk in, sit anywhere, order from any of the hawker stalls inside, pay when you leave. Last month, an American family of 4 arrived, stood at the entrance surveying the tables, and waited. I asked if they needed something. The father said they were waiting to be seated. I told him to sit anywhere open. He insisted they had an 11 a.m. reservation under Johnson Party of 4. I explained we don't take reservations, just grab a table. He pulled out his phone, showed me a screenshot of an open table confirmation for a Malaysian restaurant in Los Angeles. Different country, different hemisphere, different restaurant entirely. He'd apparently searched Malaysian food on a booking app, selected the first result without reading the location, and flown to actual Malaysia expecting the confirmation to transfer internationally. The mother asked if we could honor the spirit of their reservation by giving them priority seating. Every table was empty. They eventually sat down, ordered toast and coffee, and left to review warning tourists about Kopitiam's chaotic walk-in-only policy. I run a family roti canai stall at a Mamak restaurant in Ipoh, open 24 hours, serving fresh roti to whoever orders. No reservations, no table assignments, no wait list. You sit down, we bring you a menu, you order, we cook, you eat. Simple. An American woman arrived at 2 a.m. last weekend after the bars closed, scanned the room, and asked which table was hers. I said any empty one. She clarified she'd reserved table 7 specifically because it was near the window. I explained we don't number tables or take reservations. She showed me an email she'd sent herself, a reminder note that said, "Reserve table 7 at that roti place," which she claimed had legal standing as a booking. I pointed out that sending yourself a note doesn't create an obligation for others. She argued that, in Seattle, restaurants always confirm reservations, as if her home city's customs established binding protocol across international borders. She sat at a random table, ordered roti teller, and asked if the lack of table numbers was a cultural thing or just poor organization. I told her it was the result of not needing reservations at a casual 24-hour stall. She left confused. My brother manages a night market food court in Taipei, dozens of stalls serving oyster omelets, stinky tofu, and bubble tea. Everything's first come first served, been operating this way for 30 years. Last Saturday, an American couple approached the seating area holding printed confirmations from their hotel, which had recommended various night market stalls but certainly hadn't booked anything. They waved the papers at my brother, demanding to know where their reserved table was. He explained night markets don't have reservations, you order from any stall, find an open table, eat, and leave. The husband protested that his confirmation email mentioned priority access to food court facilities, a phrase he'd apparently invented in his own note. The wife asked about their tasting flight package. No such thing exists. Individual stalls sell individual items, you walk around and buy what you want. She insisted that, in Denver, food halls always have curated reservation experiences, attempting to impose Colorado Strip mall culture onto a traditional Taiwanese night market. They eventually figured out how ordering worked but spent the entire meal photographing the chaos as evidence of what they called infrastructure deficiencies. My uncle operates a water taxi in Venice, ferrying people across the Grand Canal at traghetto crossings. You pay €1, stand on the boat for 3 minutes, get off. No seats, no schedules, no bookings. The boat leaves when it's full or when he decides, whichever comes first. An American man arrived last week, waited for the boat to load, then asked my uncle to confirm his 2:30 p.m. crossing. My uncle said the boat runs continuously, there's no 2:30 p.m. specifically. The man insisted he'd booked passage on Vessel 7 at 1,430 hours through what he called the Venice Public Maritime System. No such booking system exists for Traghetto boat. He showed my uncle a screenshot from some Vaporetto water bus company, a completely different service with numbered boats and timetables. My uncle explained the difference. The man demanded to see the vessel registration to verify this was Boat 7. The boats don't have numbers, they have names, and nobody refers to them anyway. He eventually paid his euro, stood for the 3-minute crossing, and disembarked while insisting the lack of vessel identification violated maritime transparency standards. I'm a tuk-tuk driver in Siem Reap, parked outside the tourist area waiting for passengers. People walk up, we agree on a price and destination, they climb in, I drive them somewhere. Pure simplicity. Last month, an American woman approached carrying a confirmation printout from some tour agency that had gone out of business 3 years ago. She announced she was here for her reserved tuk-tuk service with air conditioning. I pointed to my tuk-tuk, which is open air by definition. That's what tuk-tuks are. She insisted her booking specifically requested air conditioning and demanded to see the climate control settings. I explained that tuk-tuks don't have air conditioning, they're 3-wheeled motorbikes with a bench seat and a roof. If she wanted AC, she needed a car service, completely different price point. She argued that, in Phoenix, all ride services include climate control, and accused me of downgrading her reservation. She eventually got in my regular tuk-tuk, paid the normal rate, and spent the entire ride to Angkor asking why I didn't have her name on my passenger manifest. My father runs a cable car at a mountain resort in Interlaken, taking tourists up to viewing platforms. You buy a ticket at the base station, wait in line, board the next available car, ride up. No reserved time slots, no assigned cabins, just continuous operation. An American couple purchased tickets last Thursday, then stood aside from the queue asking station staff about their premium cabin reservation. The staff explained there are no cabin reservations, everyone boards the next available car. The husband insisted he'd booked Sunrise Cabin 14 6 months in advance through an email he'd sent to our general info address, which had auto-replied with operating hours. He'd interpreted that automated message as a binding contract for exclusive cabin access. My father explained that all cabins are identical, nobody reserves specific ones, and sunrise slots definitely don't exist. The wife protested that, in Aspen, you always pre-book gondola times, attempting to apply Colorado ski resort protocols to Swiss mountain transport. They eventually boarded a regular cabin, rode up with 8 other tourists, and filed a complaint about misleading confirmation practices. I work at a border crossing between Singapore and Malaysia, processing thousands of pedestrians daily who walk across the bridge. You scan your passport, answer questions, walk through, done. No appointments needed, no queue reservations, just show up during operating hours. An American man approached my immigration desk last week, presented his passport, and asked if he was checked in for his 10:15 a.m. crossing slot. I asked what he meant. He explained he'd scheduled his border passage online through a travel forum where someone had mentioned busy crossing times, and he'd somehow concluded that constituted an official reservation system. He showed me a forum comment from 5 years ago suggesting crossing before 10 a.m. to avoid crowds, which he'd printed and highlighted, treating it as a confirmed appointment. I explained borders don't operate on appointments, you cross when you arrive. He asked about priority processing for reserved crossings. There's no such thing. That's not how international borders work. He eventually cleared immigration normally, taking 45 seconds total, then asked where to leave feedback about the confusing reservation interface. My grandmother operates a small shrine in Kyoto where visitors come to pray, buy omamori charms, and write wishes on wooden plaques. The shrine has existed for 300 years with the same basic system. You arrive, bow, pray, leave an offering if you wish, continue your day. Last week, an American couple approached the offering box, glanced around, then asked my grandmother where the experience coordinator was. She didn't understand. They clarified they'd booked a traditional shrine ceremony with personal blessing 4:11 a.m. My grandmother explained we don't book ceremonies, priests aren't available on demand, visitors simply pray at their own pace. The wife protested that her travel agent had confirmed this was an authentic reservation-based shrine experience. No agent had contacted us. The husband asked about the photographer they'd requested for their ceremony. We don't provide photographers. That's a completely different service at completely different shrines designed for tourists. They stood there confused, unable to reconcile what they'd imagined with what actually existed, before finally walking up to the offering box, throwing in some coins, and taking photos themselves while my grandmother quietly swept leaves and wondered what reservations had to do with prayer.